Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee.
You sure? It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are having a good day. So far, good morning, and that you had a good day yesterday. Maybe you went out Black Friday shopping. I didn't, but I might do my online shopping. I want to get Christmas gifts wrapped up. Well, figuratively and literally soon. I don't want to be at the last minute, so I might actually just do online shopping, though. But maybe you went out. But nonetheless, welcome here to the office. Welcome to my home. Welcome to the morning grind. I'm Heath. Yes, I'm audio only this morning. Yesterday, what happened, because I'm running a bit behind, and man, I looked a disaster this morning. So it'll be audio only. But yesterday, I did go and see Napoleon. So this is what's going on right here. So because Tuesday night, Doug and I are going to be talking about Napoleon on the Table Talk channel. Let me put the direct link right here to the Napoleon episode. Napoleon, this is Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Napoleon discussion. If you want to be in on Napoleon, that's where we'll be. Please go there. Click notify me. So we went early. I went with a friend of mine who I actually haven't gotten to hang out with in a long, long time. So I went with a friend of mine. He and I went to see the movie, and then we went to a bar afterwards to discuss. And we just actually talked. We talked a lot about Napoleon. We talked a lot about other things. So we actually had a fantastic time yesterday by going to the movie and then by hanging out with him, going to the movie and then going to the bar afterward and talking. So I got in late here this last night and then had to type up some notes on Napoleon. And then so now I'm here kind of getting ready this morning and doing the show. Robert asks, so was it good? The answer is no. Now, I have not watched any commentary from anybody else on Napoleon. I only watched a couple, and I didn't watch anything in advance of it either. I just watched the trailer a few times because I was excited about it months before, and then I didn't watch anybody else's commentary. I haven't watched anything about like director's commentary or lead up or anything like that. I went in cold to watch the movie, and unfortunately, no, it was not. So I will be delivering a cannonade against this movie on Tuesday night. So like I said, I don't know what other people have been saying. Oh, Twincast apparently has heard something. Apparently everything I've heard and seen of Napoleon is just painful. I doubt I'll be in the mood. I did not think this was a very good movie, which is so terrible because I love Napoleon so much. Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Napoleon. These are amazing characters in history. And boy, you just do not get that Napoleon was anything like that in this movie. So we're going to be doing a breakdown on this. We're going to be breaking it down. I've got lots of notes because I do really enjoy the Napoleonic era and the Napoleonic history. And I really wanted that to be a good movie. I was excited about the movie. I was letting myself get excited about the movie because I was like, oh man, I love this. We got Ridley Scott here. What if this is just a fantastic movie then it was not. It was so disappointing. I don't know what Doug's opinion was. I don't know what Doug's opinion is yet. So we'll have to hear from Doug as well. So we will, and Doug's doing the same thing. He's not listening to any other commentary or anything like that before Tuesday. So you'll get our raw opinions on Napoleon. Good morning, Stray. Good morning, Stray. And Robert and Zero the Blade. Good morning. Mary Jane, welcome. Not really, Sarah. Good morning. It's so glad to have you back. So good to have you back. I'm very glad that you're here. Thank you. Hey, BGD and Twincast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's see. Yeah, Stray says, go watch The Cultists instead. Yeah, please do. Come watch The Cultists. We are, by the way, actually very close, it looks like, to 500 subscribers on the dedicated Table Talk channel. Wait, let me refresh this because I bet we're further ahead. Yeah, 495 people are now subscribed to the Table Talk channel. So we are close to going over the 500 subscriber mark on the dedicated Table Talk channel, which is fantastic. And then if you come over here to The Cultists, which is my show, that's my show, my web show. So The Cultists, we got 1,240 subscribers over there now, which is fantastic. So come on over. Stray posted the link to The Cultist channel. That's my mockumentary of modern day Lovecraftian cultists who just want to worship Cthulhu in a world full of people who don't understand. And both Brianna, I've provided director's commentary. I provided producer's commentary. Brianna, if you've been enjoying hearing Brianna talk on Table Talk, well, you can hear her director's commentary as well for each episode. So if you like Table Talk and like the kinds of things that she says, you can come over here and watch that as well, of course, I've got the first 3 episodes of season 1 up right now. All right, we're going to be taking a look. We're having a casual day this morning because I was out late last night, so I've kind of scrambled here this morning. But then also, we've been doing some very heavy subjects lately, talking about the orc and the elf. And there are actually a couple of other court cases that we need to talk about that I had got the links to in the Ravenkeep Discord server. Which, by the way, I guess right here, invite to the Discord server right here, if you're not with us already. So there are some other weightier topics about court cases that have potential ramification on mechanics and expressions of mechanics and their copyright status and all of that I want to break down. But this morning, Sunday mornings are generally more casual. So we're going to take a look at the Warhammer, the Old World this morning. And so if you if you have other topics, these typically don't take the entire time. These are typically short. So if there are other smaller topics that we need to address or to take a look at that you've got a link for, let me know, and we will go over that. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's do our morning sacrament, though. I'm going to take down this, and I'm going to go over to The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, so we can have our breathe and sip, and then our reading. Right here. There we go. So this is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. First, let's breathe and sip. You got your coffee this morning, or whatever it is, your favorite beverage that you'd like to have here with on the morning grind with us. Everybody grab your beverage, whatever it is, coffee, tea, whiskey, beer, Coke, whatever it might be this morning. Let's take 2 deep breaths, deep inhales, complete exhales, and then take a sip of your favorite beverage. Just a moment for mental reflection and clarity. Here we go. And sip. All right. The Supreme Virtue, out of The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Someone once asked the Spartan king Leonidas to identify the supreme warrior virtue from which all others flowed. He replied, contempt for death. For us artists, read failure. Contempt for failure is our cardinal virtue. By confining our attention territorially to our own thoughts and actions, in other words, to the work and its demands, we cut the earth from beneath the blue-painted, shield-banging, spear-brandishing foe. That was short. Let's go one more. Okay, the fruits of our labor. When Krishna instructed Arjuna that we have a right to our labor, but not to the fruits of our labor, he was counseling the warrior to act territorially, not hierarchically. We must do our work for its own sake, not for fortune or attention or applause. Then there's the third way proffered by the Lord of Discipline, which is beyond both hierarchy and territory. That is to do with the work that is given to him. Do it as an offering to God. Give the act to me, purged of hope and ego. Fix your attention on the soul. Act and do for me. The work comes from heaven anyway. Why not give it back? To labor in this way, the Bhagavad Gita tells us, is a form of meditation and a supreme species of spiritual devotion. It also, I believe, conforms most closely to higher reality. In fact, we are servants of the mystery. We are put here on earth to act as agents of the infinite, to bring into existence that which is not, yet which will be through us. Every breath we take, every heartbeat, every evolution of every cell comes from God and is sustained by God every second, just as every creation, invention, every bar of music, every line of verse, every thought, vision, fantasy, every dumbass flop and stroke of genius comes from that infinite intelligence that creates us and the universe in all its dimensions, out of the void, the field of infinite potential, primal chaos, the muse. To acknowledge that reality, to efface all ego, to let the work come through us and give it back freely to its source, that, in my opinion, is as true to reality as it gets. Thus saith Stephen Pressfield. Let me bring up the Warhammer material. You see what's going on in the world of Warhammer. We thought, and I still continue to think, that this is, it seems to be doing what we want it to do, which is kind of a return to, it seems a very direct return to old school Warhammer gaming. So in that sense, I think it's doing well. I had another link here I was going to send you because I have so many windows up on the computer. Well, who knows? It's because, let's see here. Regarding Napoleon, Twincast says, reviews I've seen pretty much have covered the complete range of opinions, but I know from how they describe it that I'd hate it and stop with the desaturated history dramas already. And the past had colors. That was exactly my friend who I was watching the show with. That was his first complaint That was the first thing he said when he got out of the movie was, well, actually, I was the first one to say, okay, wait a minute, this was terrible. And he said, yeah, I was really afraid that because he knows I like Napoleon. He was afraid that he was going to have to break the seal with okay, this was not a very good movie. So he was apparently pleased that I would first said, you're right, this was not a very good movie. But then as soon as we got past that, he was like, well, it started out without any color. And then it just got worse from there. Excuse me. It just got worse from there. Talking about, he was like, it had no color. And I don't mean that figuratively. I mean, actually, it had no color. Yes, I'm working on sending out more information on the trial of St. Gabriel today. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Stray, for putting that up. So the trial of St. Gabriel, that's my dark short story of the Christmas Massacre. We got to launch this next week. I'm going to be sending out more emails about that this afternoon. Well, starting this morning after this stream ends. So, dark short story of the Christmas Massacre. Please come over here and hit the follow button. And hey, as part on the community tab, if you go to the community tab or the Ravenkeep Discord server in the Theophany section, there's the free preview of the story. This is not your average ordinary day Christmas story. If you know me, you know I'm violent. I had to dial back the violence in this. My brother dialed me back again. That's what he's good for. My brother was one of the beta readers for this. And he thought I could get my point across with somewhat less violence. So a little bit of violence was removed, but it's still a very violent story. Oh, good morning, Inner Light. Good morning. Oh, Inner Light says, that's a beautiful paragraph. That's how I have believed as long as I can remember. Hey, Andrew. And Inner Light says, I hope it does, Heath, but even if it doesn't, we still have the old documents. I think talking about Warhammer, the Old World. Please do hit the like. Yes. Yeah, I looked up Ridley Scott's filmography, and apparently I've seen less Ridley Scott movies than I thought. So as far as like understanding the entire body of his work, although some of the movies that I really, really like are Ridley Scott films. And so that's why, particularly like historic movies. And so that's why, I guess that's one of the reasons I had such high hopes for Napoleon. Calvin and Hobbes had a newspaper strip where the dad explains to Calvin old photos were in black and white because color hadn't been invented yet. Right. Okay, so the Old World Almanac, fight the good fight in the combat phase. So where are we doing combat here? Classic, let's find out. So far in the run-up to Warhammer, the Old World, we prepared for battle. Actually, I need to cough here. Just not doing well this morning. In the run-up to Warhammer, the Old World, we prepared a battle in the strategy phase, jockeyed for position in the movement phase, and darkened the skies with arrows in the shooting phase. Now it's time to get to the grimmest business of all, slinging swords and shouldering pikes in the combat phase. You may not be surprised at this point to discover that the fourth and final phase of the game round is divided into 4 simple steps. Choose and fight, calculate result, break test, and pursuit. As with the shooting phase, these steps are followed in order for each separate combat. It's too complicated to summarize in full here, but this article should give you a flavor of how it all works. You begin the phase by choosing which combat you want to begin first. In general, fighting happens in ranks, and only the first rank of an engaged unit can fight. However, a unit with a wider front rank than its opponent can still attack with every model in that rank. Your troops surround and envelop the other regiment. There are plenty of wrinkles to this. Some models may make supporting attacks from a deeper rank. Multiple units can be engaged in the same combat, and other models that is able to fight without being in base contact may be able to make one attack this turn. Oh, Stray just gifted a membership. Thank you, Stray. So somebody who got a membership? Inner Light just got a gift. Oh, Inner Light just got a gift. So Inner Light, congratulations. Welcome, Inner Light. Inner Light just got the channel membership that Stray gifted. Thank you, Stray. So by the way, if you are a channel member, I gave away the entire story It's a short story of the Trial of St. Gabriel. So if you're a channel member, like Innerlight is now, check out the community tab, because there should be a members only post, and the members only post has a link to the complete Trial of St. Gabriel story. Once you've worked out who can fight, it's time to determine initiative for each model and see who strikes first. The model with the highest initiative statistic strikes first, and so on down in the order, with a bonus for charging and a bigger one for hitting them in the flank or rear. I was about to say, what about charging? Because generally the charging models went first, I believe, in the version of Warhammer that I played, and the initiative didn't take into account, or initiative wasn't taken into account until subsequent rounds. But it looks like here you're getting an initiative bonus. So if somebody is really, really fast, then they might be able to overcome the charging bonus. Although the other thing that you could do is, I don't think weapon reach was ever taken into account. Like spears allows you to attack from 2 ranks. But if you had guys charging from with swords into pikes or spears, I don't think that it took into account length of weapons ever. There could still be a situation, however, where a lumbering foe like a stone troll, initiative 1, may find itself striking second on the charge against the preternatural senses of a sword master of Hoeth, initiative 6. So, okay, I'll take that. I like that. That's fine. So even a stone troll, when they charge, may still get hit second. Weapon skill and rolling to hit. The big news here is that we're back to classic weapon skill stat, which is great. You know, this was all watered down for the Lord of the Rings game. I played that, but man, that really kind of started the era, I suppose, of, hey, let's simplify this. And of course, there's simplification and streamlining, because streamlining doesn't have to be bad. That can reduce complexity. But sometimes things are streamlined that aren't overly simplified. But that really started the era, I thought, of like oversimplification. That game really was about like who can roll the dice better, because the weapon skill had very little to do with it. It just broke ties or something, which means higher weapon skill is better, and that to work out each model to hit roll, you must compare your weapon skill against theirs. Yes, the to hit chart is back and as beardy as ever. Bad news if you're a Goblin Spearman, but fantastic for that Bretonnian Duke who's about to skewer them. So here's the attacker's weapon skill, and here's the target's weapon skill. So it should be, any equal should be 4+. 3 to weapon skill 3, that's pretty common. 4+, 2 to 2, yeah. So now if you are 3 and the target is, okay, well, 4, 5. So once they get up to 7, you start to change the to hit number again. So if you're a 4, though, you're hitting somebody at a 3 with a 3+. Yes, back to classic Warhammer. You roll as many dice as your engaged models have attacks, and with the higher initiative model striking first, a charging unit has the opportunity to overwhelm his enemies before they have the wit to swing back. Next, you roll to wound and make armor saves as normal. Casualties are removed from the back ranks, representing the rear ranks stepping forward as their comrades bite the dirt. Set every death in the unit aside. You'll need to tote them up in the next step. Oh, okay, so that's it. So Innerlight says, I believe the enemy's weapon skill has to be greater than double of yours to make it more difficult to hit. Go to 5+. That could be it, because there should be some way to easily memorize this. So if it's 6, 3, 3 to 3, no, 3 to 3 is 4+. No, oh, you're talking about the enemy. The enemy's weapon skill has to be greater than double yours. So greater than double, yeah, that would be greater than double. So going to 7. So if you are a 4, then that means that it should be a 9. Okay, that is the system here. If the enemy's weapon skill is greater than double yours, then it sends it up to a 5+. Because there is no 6+2. So you never have to check for that. Okay, so yes, so there is method to this. I mean, you would think there would be method to this right here. greater than double yours, you go to 5+. And then if you're underneath, it looks like it's dropping down by 1 to 2+. So if your weapon skill 3, fighting a 2, it's 3+. Fighting a 2, it's 1+. And we don't go below 1 to 2+. Attack. Gee. Attacker weapon versus target weapon skill. Less than half equals 5+. Equal or less 4+. More equals 3+. More than double 2+. More than double. Okay. Because if you're 6 and you're fighting a 2, you're fighting a weapon skill 2, that's more than double. Yep. So if you're just double, you're just double if you're 6 versus 3. So that's 3+. That gives you the advantage. I think that is it. Calculating the combat result. Combats in Warhammer, the old world, are usually decisive. Combats in Warhammer, the old world, are usually decisive. One side or the other makes the breakthrough. The loser is pushed back and breaks. Unlike in other Warhammer games, you don't flee based on your leadership alone. You have to calculate the combat result. In other words, you work out who's won by toting up who's killed who. It's not just how many deaths you've caused, however. You get bonuses for complete ranks, for having the high ground, for standard bearers, and attacking from the side or rear. So to determine your combat result score, consult the table below and calculate how many combat result points your unit scored. Unsaved wounds inflicted. This is inflicted. How many yours scored? Unsaved wounds inflicted, 1 point each. Rank bonus, +1 point per rank. Standard, +1 point. Battle standard, +1 point. Flank attack, +1. Rear attack, +2 points. High ground, +1 point. Overkill, +1 point per excess wound. Other bonuses as applicable. Add it all up and see who's won. If it's a draw, combat continues next turn. But if there's a clear loser, they must take a break test. This is the leadership test modified by how much you lost the combat by, with several outcomes. If the natural roll is higher than the leadership stat of the testing unit's leadership, either that of its champion or the hero model that's joined it, then the unit breaks and flees. If the natural roll is higher than the leadership stat of the testing unit's leader, okay, then it breaks and flee. If the modified roll, okay, so it looks like we're modifying by adding things then. We're not subtracting from the leadership. I think we're adding things because it says if the modified roll is higher than the leadership stat, but the natural roll is lower, the unit falls back in good order. That's something that I don't think you could do in the edition that I played. So that sounds pretty good. If the modified roll is lower than the leadership stat, or if you roll double 1, the unit gives ground. All right, I am liking this. I know I've said before, and I think I've said it before on this stream, that I like combats to feel dynamic and to change the location on the battlefield. I do like that, which Warhammer didn't really do. You attacked, and then the units were stuck in that position until one of them broke and fled. And then you do the pursuit roll, and that could change the geometry of your battlefield. But I like pushing back, especially if you've got like cavalry charging lighter infantry. I want there to be give and take on the battlefield so that there can be things going on, changing the geometry of the battlefield that you're not direct in control over and have to respond to. So it looks like they've added that. So they could break and flee. They could fall back, or they can give ground. As you can see, this means you've lost. If you tied, then you're going to be stuck exactly where they are, which makes sense. Inner Light says, and modify the difference between the combat score results. You modify by the difference between the combat score results. Right, yes. That was my understanding, yeah. So if somebody scores a 7 and somebody scores a 3, then the loser is modifying by the difference of those combat results. Makes sense. As you can see, this is a substantial change to the combat rules from the last editions of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and instead combines and refines a selection of rules from earlier editions and spin-offs of the game. It may seem complex at first glance, but it's a mechanic that quickly becomes clear once you've run through a few combats, and it adds a ton of tactical depth to the most important part of the game. All right, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Break test example. Our sword masters, leadership 8, have come off worse in their combat against the stone trolls despite striking first, and have lost by 3 points. They must now take a break test with 3 possible outcomes. So if they roll a 2, 3, 4, or 5, which is a modified roll equal to or lower than the leadership, they will give ground. If they have modified roll higher than the leadership, modified roll is higher than the leadership, they fall back in good order. If it's higher, the natural roll is higher than the leadership, they break and flee. We'll be discussing morale, breaking, and psychology next week, but we can still investigate the final step of combat, pursuit. I always like these pictures. So run them down. When you win a combat, you have a range of choices depending on how the enemy reacts. One is restrain. Pass a leadership test to avoid pursuit and instead reform your ranks for free. Follow up, a unit that gave ground, re-entering combat a few inches forward. I like that. Pursue, a unit that flees or falls back. If you can catch a fleeing unit, it's cut down and destroyed. If you catch a unit falling back, combat begins again, and the pursuer counts as having charged. Oh, so it's like another charge. Overrun. In the case the victory has completely killed its target, it may make a full move directly forward. And if you end up in another combat, that counts as a fresh charge. Clever use of overruns will have heavy cavalry licking its lips. There's plenty more in the combat phase. Wizards can use assailment spells, for example, while units fighting from behind a barricade or wall benefit from the extra protection. Battle magic, hammer hand. As the battle mage chants an invocation, their fists become like hammers, falling upon their foes with great and terrible power. So this is an assailment spell, casting value 7+, range combat effect. A single enemy unit the caster is engaged in combat with suffers 2d3 strength 4 hits, each with an AP of -2. Soul Eater. The Dark Mage reaches out a taloned hand to tear at the very soul of their enemy. Type, assailment. Casting value 7+. Range, combat. Effect, a single enemy model the caster is engaged in combat with suffers a single strength 3 hit with multiple wounds. 3 special rule, multiple wounds 3. Special rule with no armor save permitted. Ward and regeneration saves can be attempted as normal. So that's it for this week's snapshot from Warhammer: The Old World. Next week's installment is all about morale and psychology, fear, terror, hatred, and all the good stuff. We have a star here referred to as the fighting rank. Certain units have the ability to fight in deeper ranks or offer supplementary attacks. I guess that was who can actually make their attack. Let's see. Yeah, right here. Only the first rank. So that was the asterisk. The first race called the fighting rank. Inner Light says, well, I think they're saying that fleeing or falling back is pretty much like turning tail and getting the hell out of there. So if anyone pursuing them would make it, would be like charging them in the rear. I thought he was talking about something else. Follow up. If the unit, so what is our give ground? Oh, give ground, fall back, but in good order. Give ground, fall back. So it's saying that if the unit gave ground, re-enter combat a few inches forward. If you catch a unit falling back, combat again begins again with the pursuer counts as having charged. I don't think you're going to be falling into the rear there because it says you fall back in good order. So here, I think nobody would be charging. You re-enter combat a few inches forward. So I think nobody's charging here. If you catch a fleeing unit, that is really when they're turning around and running because you've got a rout going on. And then they're cut down and destroyed. If they're falling back, combat begins again and the pursuer counts as having charged. But I don't think you're going to be hitting them in the rear because it says you fall back in good order, I think. All right. What else do we need to look at this morning? Is there something else we need to take a look at this morning that is important and going on in the Geekverse that isn't too heavy a topic this morning? If you've got an idea in the comments, go ahead and post it in the comments. Let me check the. I noticed that the role of law has been in the morning grind, and I've been thinking more about the attribution. Apparently, has got us has generating a lot of conversation in the Discord server, and I've been thinking about that. I'm going to reply as well. I want to, since I was gone yesterday, I'm going to read everything that's been going on over there and reply. The reattribution thing is still kind of weird to me because it seems like if I'm a publisher, I really don't want anybody else to have control over my having to put out new books or re-release new editions or things like that. As long as I feel like if I comply with the terms of a license as it exists at the time that I publish the book, that's sufficient. Having somebody else come by and say, you got to change up what your whole book, that seems kind of weird to me as a publisher. And I don't know that a lot of people are going to accept that. But I'm going to read everything that he says and then reply. So we will see. Interlight says, that's right. Falling back is in good order, so not attacked in the rear. So let's see. Oh, I was pulling up the Discord server. So I do want to talk about this lawsuit here. I'll just click this link. I'm not going to do this today, but does anybody have information on this particular lawsuit that has to do with Lorcana? Upper Deck alleges copyright infringement with Disney Lorcana lawsuit after Ravenberger's motion to dismiss. It sounds like there's a lot to get into here, and I was looking for more information on it because this article right here does have clips from apparently what was filed. It was posted to Twitter here, X, but I'd really like to be able to see the entire thing, and I wasn't able to find the complete court filing. But it might be enough to, on One Morning Grind, go through this with the tweets and stuff, because this has to do with like copyright of rules right here. You can see what people are saying the rules existing were, and then what the rules as published by another company were, and does this violate copyright? So I do want to cover this. If anybody has any other links or better information on this or happens to know more about it, I'd really appreciate it if you would post it, especially if it's a link to the actual court filings. McDougal says, big up Greenskins. We have an orc player in the chat now. So we're going to be looking at that soon. But I have a feeling that's going to be its own deep conversation. Let's see. Magic the Gathering has been caught using AI-generated artwork again, and people are having a tizzy about it. Oh, can we find something on that? Like Google News? Or just, let's see, Magic the Gathering AI art. I think I saw somebody, like, where this is November 15th. Oh, McDougal says, I also play Black Templars and 40K. So this was... what, the 15th? Let's see what this is. What are people saying about this? Magic the Gathering players accuse Wizards of the Coast of using AI art in Tomb Raider Secret Lair advertisement. And there was the art scandal from last week where one of the Wizards... And there was the art scandal from last week where one of the WotC artists using another artist's work without permission. I know. I think that's what I saw. That like the background was from another artist. Oh, you're a high elf player, Interlight? My brother played high elves. I like high elves. I had Bretonia, but high elves is one of the armies I would play. So a now deleted tweet caused major flack for using what many are calling an obvious use of AI generated assets. Magic the Gathering players have accused parent company Wizards of the Coast of using AI-generated art in an advertisement promoting Tomb Raider Secret Lair crossover. The now deleted post to X.com was immediately needled by criticism by dozens of users, and a new ad posted later the same day, no longer containing the alleged AI-created assets. The MTG Secret Lair account initially posted the offending image on November 13th, which contained 3 pieces of artwork for the upcoming Tomb Raider Secret Lair drop, posted in what looks like a 70s or 80s style den. 2 are used as posted taped to a wood paneled wall, while a third plays on a retro television set. Oh, it's okay. So I didn't understand this at all. Coming Tomb Raider Secret Lair drop posted 3 pieces of artwork that look like they're hanging in a den, as in the actual den in a room in a house, styled as far as 70s or 80s. 2 are used as posters taped to a wood paneled wall, while a third plays on a retro television set. While the artworks are from the cards, designed and illustrated by humans, were untouched. Dozens of players pointed out that nearly every other element bears telltale signs of large language model manipulations. Shadows inconsistent with objects in the scene, missing or misshapen legs on the table, and edges of the carpet and TV's base crawling over the textures, among others. What is... Magic the Gathering eventually replaced this post later the same day, this time using a more traditional composite image of the previewed cards with few background details. Commenters were quick to reference the attempted memory holding, often with heavy dose of sarcasm, and one user rehosted a screenshot of the largest MTG subreddit. So this is just an average. So it's just this? In a now deleted tweet, the official Magic the Gathering Secret Lair account used non-human art to advertise the Lara Croft crossover. How upset am I supposed to be at this? So that's it. So it wasn't, in this case, we're not even talking about art on a card. We're talking about a tweet that says, "Oh man, love this level. Secret Lair X Tomb Raider coming soon. Sign up over here to be notified when the drop goes on sale." I mean, okay. It may be the case. It may be the case that Magic the Gathering might be a special case. It could be the case that Magic the Gathering, its players are really, really big on hand-drawn art. And that's completely okay. That's completely okay. And that in order to sell Magic the Gathering, you have got to actually have done physical art. Because I do know a lot of the artists will have actually created physical and original pieces of art for Magic the Gathering cards. I forget, though, what the policy was regarding selling those. Could you sell those? Could you sell those, or did all those artworks just get, like, put into a warehouse at Magic the Gathering? I'm having trouble remembering now. Like, I'm trying to remember at Gen Con, do you have artists there with actual physical paintings that are the original paintings of Magic the Gathering paintings? Or does Wizards of the Coast take those? When actually a physical piece of art is created, Andrew says, I think a big lure is the art on the cards. Not a player myself, but I know some of the artists that have done cards. Well, I know I did not you. I wasn't talking about you specifically, Interlight. I was just talking about the internet in general. Interlight says, LOL, I'm not in a tizzy, but I don't play Magic the Gathering the way Wizards of the Coast wants me to. Yeah, see, I can't remember. I can't remember if you're an artist, if you can sell an original or not. Because that would be one draw. But most artists, most players don't have original art anyway. I mean, if somebody commissions a major painting that's going to be photographed and put on a piece of a card art, a lot of artists would want to be able to sell the original. And I remember some company allows you to do that. That you could, as long as that once the artwork had been photographed and they had digital copies of it that were going to be used for all of the work, or was going to be put into the whatever game it was, then you were free to go to Gen Con and hang up the big painting and say, you can buy it. But a lot of artists don't even create physical originals anymore. Even if it's an original, if it's a piece that's being commissioned, there is no physical original. Andrew says, I think they can sell the art, at least prints of it. But again, I'm not a magic guy. And well, they're prints too, right? I don't remember. That's the important. I guess this is an important part of that, because there's prints too. That if you create a card for art for Magic the Gathering, does Wizards of the Coast allow you to sell the original and prints of it? Oh, look. Okay, so Inner Light says, "Oh, I know the answer to this one. I know because the original artist of Llanowar Elves gave the original artwork to some YouTubers that were on the wrong side of the political scale. So Wizards of the Coast reacted and canceled all of her cards." Oh, no. Twincast says, the living room looks distinctly AI. Yes, I'm not too bothered by a silly little social media post, but if it were a huge ad campaign, I'd be outraged. And in essence, it's the same. Digital artist, Andrew says, digital artists now often do nice glycily prints and will only do one version of it. Oh, so it's like, okay, here's the one of this print of a really nice print of a digital artwork. So that takes the place of the original. Wizards of the Coast flirted with the AI art released PR. Wizards of the Coast flirted with the AI art PR kerfluffle earlier this year when several illustrations used in the Dungeons & Dragons supplement Bigby's Glory of the Giants were flagged by the public as obviously including significant marks of AI generation. The company later said that it was not aware of the illustrators' use of AI scripts, bots, or other LLMs when they submitted the work as part of their contract. We are revising our process and updating our artist guidelines to make clear the artist must refrain from using AI art generation as part of their art creation process for developing D&D art. And as we've been discussing on as we have been discussing, that's going to become you're probably going to have to become increasingly draconian to make sure that somebody is not using that, because it's being built into all technology. I mean, one way to do that, if you wanted to be sure that somebody was not using AI, any type of AI tech, like including that which is built into Photoshop and Illustrator and other software packages now, one way you could do that is by saying explicitly that all artwork submitted to us must be physical art originals. If you want to do something for Wizards of the Coast, like Magic the Gathering, like if Magic the Gathering, the fans really care that much, you could say, listen, our new policy, like we can't, if people are using Photoshop, like every release is having more and more AI tools built right into Photoshop. The same way with Illustrator. So we can't have our artists using digital tools to create art anymore, because we can't, like, unless they submitted like a screen recording of the process of creating that art to make sure that they aren't touching buttons that use AI art generated material. Short of doing that, you just say, listen, we're not working with digital artists anymore. You have to actually physically do a painting or a drawing or whatever your medium is. And you could do that. That would be the call. Like, listen, Wizards of the Coast, Magic the Gathering, from here on out, every work of art will be something that will actually have a physical original that will be photographed. Then you could know. I don't know how you're going to know otherwise. Andrew says, I bought original comic book art that was digital, and they assure me they would never sell it again that way. McDougal says, AI is gross. Magic MG2 was right. Andrew says, some comic book artists will also work 90% digital, but do big splash pages and covers, old school, so it's easier to sell. Oh, here it is on here. So this is what caused the kerfluffle. Dicebreaker reached out to Wizards of the Coast for comment, inquiring if the ad's use of AI artwork was intentional or a mistake, but did not receive a reply for publication. Further, the company is yet to make those processes available, publicly available, leading players and fans to take their dedication to change and their dedication to change and improvement on faith. Resistance to an increased reliance on AI generative tools, LLM scripts such as ChatGPT, which can now teach board game rules, etc., has increased in recent years, and it's massive increase in recent years. Well, I guess it has increased in recent years, but also increased in the last year, year singular, as massive companies and leading tech industries push their adoption on a largely skeptical or undereducated public. The recently resolved Writers Guild of America strike carved out protections to writers, editors, and other creators who feared executives would outsource their work to unpaid AIs. Freelance artists similarly worry that Wizards of the Coast will continue folding AI into their graphic design and advertisement, cutting out critical opportunities for skilled workers in an already precarious field. Even if this contentious technology never touches the front of an MTG card, corporate adoption by one of the biggest names in the tabletop game is auspicious. As one commenter on Reddit aptly put it, it's a labor issue, not a what's on my toys issue. Wait a minute. Now I'm curious about what happened with this. Llanowar Elves. So in that case, there was a physical copy, a physical original. Controversy. Llanowar Elves artist controversy. Original art. I don't see the story on that. If we find it, we'll take a look at it. Andrew says, famous comic book creator Wally Wood, long since passed, quote, never draw anything you can copy, never copy anything you can trace, never trace anything you can cut out and paste up. I believe it. Now, even if you were, now see, here's a question for you. What if Wizards of the Coast did say that, all right, we're really serious. Let's say it's specifically about Magic the Gathering. And they say, hey, we're getting really serious about this no AI art stuff on Magic cards. That's a core component of Magic. All art must be physical. And they say that. But artists are going to put together reference imagery. So artists have to put together, or very often, almost all of them, are not going to draw their cards absolutely made up from their mind. Even the best artists, what Andrew is talking about here, will create reference material for their art. And I even know that even if the situation is going to be where you're going to physically do this, I know artists that do this. Like we're going to do a physical picture, physical drawing with physical media. The reference material may still be put together digitally. That they'll take different photos, either they took themselves or they'll photos from different places online and so forth, and they get mashed up and put together basically as in Photoshop. And so that's all generated or combined and everything in Photoshop. So like that's exactly what I want to draw. And then that gets printed out, and then that is sitting right beside the artist as they're doing the physical copy. So he basically created the whole piece digitally before drawing it. The question is, can you use digital assets? This is another great thing. I've got a whole bunch of discussion on AI. What if you use AI generated assets as part of your reference? Is it good enough to say you must physically do the artwork? I want to see an actual physical painting. You've got to ship a physical painting to Wizards of the Coast for photography if you want to be on Magic the Gathering. And none of your reference material can be generated by AI. Because would it still be a scandal if then later it came out that the person had put together reference material and it used AI generated assets? Would that be a scandal? McDoodle says, I don't think this will change. WotC has done a lot of people, has done a lot to make people to distrust them, and they'll just change the approach or be more sneaky about it. Okay, it was Terrace Nelson. Well, okay, let me see. Oh, right here. Looking it up. Okay. Okay. Magic Lanoir Elves. Controversy. Wait, this says, okay, this says, I think I may have found it. Okay, so, okay, hold on. So let me bring this over here. So maybe this is what it's about. Wait, you got to get to the right. Here it is. So this is the hipsters of the coast. Is this a good summary of what happened? Okay, so Twincast says the only canceled MTG artist I know is, okay, so Terese Nilsson for repeated public transphobic statements. Okay, it was a different card. Okay, is this a reasonable? I wonder if this is a reasonable description of what happened. So this came up because there was a physical print. Now, if I physical or not a physical print, a physical original that was given to somebody that they didn't like. Thursday evening on Weekly Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast revealed they had apparently ended their relationship with controversial artist Terese Nilsson. We haven't commissioned new art from Terese Nilsson in quite a while, said Doug Beyer, principal game designer and world building team for Magic the Gathering. The last product that we have any reprint art from her is this fall with Zendikar Rising. So that was reprint. This article is from 2020. So also, I don't know. I mean, that can definitely change. I mean, people have been doing digital art for quite some time, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was an older piece of art, an older work on a card before digital art was nearly what it is today that had been generated. Yeah, Andrew says old artists used to call it a morgue file. They would just collect pictures from magazines, books, whatever for reference. Now many people use Google search. Right. So apparently that's not a problem. Like if you use Google search and you come up with other people's images and then you use them for reference in your work to create your work, people don't seem to have a problem with that. Beyer's statement is that Wizards of the Coast first acknowledgement of this controversy surrounding Nilsson. It came on the same day that it was revealed that Nilsson would have at least 3 cards in Jumpstart, Magic's newest supplement product with her art, Death's Approach, Hunter's Insight, and Rhystic Study. Many in the Magic community were upset that Wizards was continuing to use Nilsson's work after the information that has surfaced through 2018 and 2019. Sampling of alt-right conspiracy-driven accounts that Nilsson followed on Twitter. Nilsson, who lives in Carson City, Nevada, with her wife, was one of the most popular artists and beginning illustrator cards in 1996's Alliance's expansion set. But in 2018, people noticed that Nilsson had been following members of the alt-right and conspiracy theorists on Twitter. Those followers ranged from alt-right activists like Mike Cernovich and Jack Prosobic to InfoWars, home of conspiracy theorists and Sandy Hook denier Alex Jones, and the white nationalist Stefan Molyneux. She was found to have liked a number of racist tweets that spouted anti-Semitic theories and made memes about white power. Okay, so this So there's other things here than giving up the piece of art to somebody. 2020 is when the art was given away. So, all right. So here, I'll post the whole link to this if you want to read the whole thing. So this is the link to the Nielsen controversy. Andrew says, wait. Oh, Andrew says, I would think that most artists would want photos for reference. They're so easy to get. Why use some AI image we would know often have basic errors? Too risky. I don't know. These things only get better. And yes, you might want, I mean, the reason that you would want that is like, okay, I need a photo of a woman lying on the floor doing something. Even if you're only doing the most basic of reference photography, you still have to get another person in the room with you to be your reference. And that's a lot of fun. I love the physical aspects of things. I think it's a lot of fun to see some of the original reference photography that was put together, you know, for some of iconic fantasy images where, you know, the artist was getting his friends together to photograph different people, like instead of a robe, like wrapped up in the curtains or something like that. And that became such amazing artwork, our iconic artwork. I mean, it can be amazing too, but iconic artwork, all that's kind of fun. Edge of Wonder. I have no idea who they are, but so this is it. Nielsen's gifted work is displayed on an episode of Edge of Wonder. Yeah, exactly. The point of reference is to be accurate. You want to know what a 1957 Chevy looks like. Sure, in that case, yes. If you need to know, if I need to know what a Chevy looks like, yes, sure. Makes sense. Okay, so here it is. So that was sent. So that is, but that does not look like an original painting. That looks like a print. So a painter sent these to us. Rob Count said in the video, Teresi Nielsen. She sent us all these paintings, and they're so incredible, and signed them. So I would say that they didn't. So that didn't help us with whether or not they were originals or not. But an interesting story nonetheless. But it looks like they were sent prints here. Okay. All right. Well, we've been going for about an hour this morning. So this was kind of a potpourri Sunday. Sundays are often kind of potpourri days. So interesting stuff going on. We're going to have to pull together a whole conversation on the use of AI art. We're going to have to do that. The way I think that it should go is probably that I should put together my notes here, and we can go over notes and stuff here on the morning grind. And then that way I've got all my notes organized, and we can have the discussion about all the right references and the things like that we should be looking at, and then bring on other people on Table Talk to actually have a discussion about it. Because the role of AI in different artistic endeavors is an important one. And of course, I want to see what AI can do for us. Okay, well, all right. I've got lots of stuff to do. I've got to go work on the Trial of St. Gabriel and other stuff. And who knows? I might even have some messages here telling me to go. And it was on canvas. They had an original painting too, just not shown in that picture. Oh, okay. Because what was being held up there looked like prints, but it was on a canvas. Okay, so there was an original done of that. All right. Well, everybody, go forth, be creative, be constructive, grind on. I will see you tomorrow. Later, everybody.